This is the video for language for standard 10. 9 can also use it. Comprehensive Grammar of Current English Textbook, Chapter 40, Transformation of Sentences. Let me take transformation of sentences. This means changing or converting the words or form of a sentence without changing its meaning or sense. Transformation can be done by different methods. Today, we will take one of them, that is, changing of words. Now, three patterns come under this heading. I will be taking the first changing pattern. First changing pattern is to plus an adjective. You can change it into so plus adjective plus that. I can give you an example. He is too clever to be easily deceived. He is so clever that he cannot be deceived. So when I remove to and infinite to, I will use so and that. Second example you can see. He is too cowardly not to bend. He is so cowardly that he will bend. Then I have only with to as an adverb. He is too eager for praise. I can get another adverb in place of that too because there is no infinitive. He is over eager for praise. Now there are some important rules to be noted when you are changing these sentences. First rule is that when you remove to and add so that, keep in mind that if it is a present tense, we will use cannot, and if it is a past tense like was, we will use could not. So here, he is too clever to be easily deceived is in the present tense. So we use cannot. If it was, he was too clever to be easily deceived, then we would use he could not be deceived. Now let us go to the second point to keep in mind. If the adverb to is followed by an adjective and then by a verb in the infinitive mood, that is to, we expand the sentence into two clauses as we saw earlier. The first will contain so and the second will contain that. If the original sentence contains no negative word, then the subordinate, that is the second sentence, will become negative, like we use cannot, will not, could not, etc. If the sentence, that is the first sentence, contains a negative word, then the second subordinate clause will become like can, will, etc., could, etc. Now, if there is no infinitive after to, it can be replaced by other words like over, more than enough, beyond, etc. Now we come to the second changing pattern, that is no sooner than and as soon as. Suppose we are given a sentence with as soon as and we have to change it to no sooner than. These two types can be interchanged, but it is to be kept in mind that no sooner will be followed by than. You cannot use no sooner without than. It is to be also noted for example, as soon as he arrived home, he was asked to start on another journey. Now we have to change it using no sooner than. No sooner had he arrived home than he was asked to start on another journey. When no sooner comes at the beginning of the sentence, we use the inverted order, meaning the auxiliary verb will come before the subject, like no sooner had he or did he. This structure is actually quite literary, meaning it is only used mostly in writing. It is not normally used in speaking. When do we use had or did? That is a question often asked by children. There is no difference between using them. You can use either had or did after the phrase no sooner. You can also use the phrase after the subject plus auxiliary. Example, I had no sooner closed my eyes than I fell asleep. Now, we come to the third type of changing patterns, that is interchanging of degrees of comparison, that is positive, comparative, superlative. Now let us study some examples. A positive sentence, a tall, we use tall. Then comparative, taller. Superlative, tallest. Now it has to be kept in mind when we use positive tall, usually we use the words as, tall, as. When we use taller, it is a comparative sentence, we use than. And when we use superlative, we will use the tallest. Here, no other boy is as tall as Jacob. Jacob is taller than any other boy. Jacob is the tallest boy, etc. Please read all the given examples on page 318 of chapter 40 of your textbook. Please also note, it is not possible to transform every degree in every other degree. Example, Kailash is taller than Hari cannot be transformed into the superlative degree because the superlative degree requires more than two persons or objects for comparison. Now, as part of your homework in your new language notebook, kindly make one. Do the exercises of 1A, B and C and exercise 2 of chapter 40, transformation of sentences. More in my next video. Good evening.